Hi guys, so I'm going to be doing a full format version of Maddie Perez's makeup from Euphoria Season 3. So this is what I would call her revenge makeup look. It's a very classic makeup look, but it definitely has a very strong eye. So first I'm going to be starting off with the e.l.f. Super Grip Primer. This is always my go-to. It never breaks me out. It's always like very gentle on my skin, and my makeup always does last all day. Then I went ahead and put a little bit of a lip stain on just to kind of get my lips prepped. I always like to have a lip stain on underneath any liner or lipstick. Now I'm going in with the Morphe 9B palette, and I'm just going to fill in my brows with like this brown, a very basic dark brown color. And I'm just going to fill them in, get any sparse areas, make them a bit strong because her brows were pretty strong but thin. They weren't like super thick or overly filled in, so I'm just going to make sure that I follow the natural shape, elongate them slightly. That was pretty much it. Now I'm going to go in with foundation. I'm using my go-to, my Fit Me Maybelline foundation in 102. I go from 102 to 110 depending upon the tan. I was laughing because I was watching Shira. I always like listen and watch Shira while I'm doing my makeup looks because I like to have something to like gain and listen to and kind of gain insight from while I work. It just helps my creative flow. And so anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and even out my base and my skin and everything. And I'm just going to blend that in everywhere. Now, I do have a shorter version on my Instagram and my TikTok, kind of a sped up version of this if you want just a short version just to capture a glimpse. But if you're someone who wants the full format, then this is everything I did step by step. And I'm just going to blend that in evenly and make sure that my base is smoothed out because her skin is nearly perfect and she doesn't have any imperfections. She doesn't have a lot of freckles or anything like that. So I just want to put on a little bit more foundation than usual. Now I'm going in with the CoverGirl True Skin Bronzing Contour Stick. I think this is in the shade Defined. This is a very ashy cool tone shade, but it does work good with like the undertones in my skin. It might be a little bit green for me, but I kind of like it. I like when my hair color or my makeup products have an undertone of green. It kind of just like cools down everything. And so I'm just sculpting everything out. And I am also sculpting the lid a little bit and prepping it for some eyeshadow that we're going to do in a little bit, and bringing the forehead in, sculpting the jawline out a little bit. I do notice that in this season, Maddie has a very like slimmed down facial structure and it's very defined. So I was trying to bring that into action here during this look. And so I'm going to continue to sort of blend that out. And then next I'm going to go in with the L'Oreal Infallible Wear. I think it's 24 Hour and 330 is the shade. That seems kind of like a high number. I don't know why the numbers are like that with that one. But yeah, I'm going to go in under the eye. This is one of the lightest shades. I think right there was like looking at the number and I was like, huh? So yeah. I'm just going to go and brighten up all the areas on my face that I like more light to catch. And I'm going to conceal any imperfections that I might have. Kind of going to go in sort of a strange thing, but I've been breaking out more on my neck on one side and really just not as much on the face as they get older. I don't know if anyone else has also had that happen where their hormonal acne kind of just shifts. I'm not complaining because it's not horrible, but it's just kind of interesting. So I've been using a lot of retinol, and of course I use a lot of sunscreen on a daily basis as well. So yeah, and I might have put on a little bit too much concealer, so that's okay. I think I'm realizing that as I'm blending, but everything is blendable. I put a little bit over the lip stain as well, just because she does have quite a lot of lightness in the middle, and we're going to go back over and we're going to lip line later and everything, so it really does not matter. And I'm going back again with a little bit more contouring just because I overdid some of the concealer, and I just want to make sure that I'm still keeping the definition within the face and I'm not overdoing the concealing in this aspect. And so now I'm going to use Makeup Revolution powder. I always use it in like this rosé shade. I'm going to go in and mattify the skin a little bit. I have a tendency to get very oily, so I just want to keep the matteness in the T-zone. And overall, she looked like she had a very matte look, so I want to keep everything concise with the picture. And so I'm powdering down, and I'm gonna powder the lid to make sure it's like prepped for some eyeshadow. And now I'm going in with the Morphe 9B Essentials palette. We're gonna go ahead and take the one of the third lightest shades. It's like this burnt orange type of brown, and it's very pretty. It's very bronzy. I would say it's good for summer for like a smoky eye. And we're gonna just go ahead and start with building the eye with that shade. And I'm gonna just blend that in, and then I'm going to wing it out because she has like an elongated shadow look that kind of brings the eye out in like a wing effect. So I want to start molding that together with the lightest shade first, because if you begin molding your eye look with the lightest shade first, it makes the outline easier to capture and cleaner. Then if you do more of the molding with the darker shade, it's going to look a little bit more muddy and messy. Now I'm going to slowly add in the darker shade, and this is the brown shade in the palette, and I'm going to put that in the crease, and then I'm also going to work that into like the inner crease as well. And I'm going to connect that and keep that wing shape. Most of the darkness kind of lied along the outskirts of the crease, and then on the lid it sort of stayed that burnt orange. From what I could gather, sometimes makeup on film is a little bit harder to capture. She did have like this also shadow of darkness, like very, very much so darkness, like in the inner corner there as well, along the wing line, so of the shadow. Sorry, I started coughing really bad. I've been fighting like multiple different viruses and issues lately, but I'm on the mend, so I'm coming back into action. Anyway, so I am just going ahead and I am blending the darker pieces out, and I'm taking that in. As you can see, I'm taking that in almost where the bridge of the nose kind of is there. Not all the way to the nose, but it creates like that shadow effect, and it creates this deep definition. Now I'm going to go in with the Fenty Beauty Fly eyeliner, and this is in the darkest shade. And what we're going to do is we are going to take that and we're going to create a double barrel wing, double action wing, whatever term you want to use, but 2 wings. And I'm going to begin with the first one and flick the wing out. And I start with a little bit of a smaller wing, a little bit of a smaller action, and then I'll go and fill in. You also don't have to use liquid eyeliner. You can use a very small pointed brush, and then you can take a little bit of like a charcoal black color, charcoal brown color, and then you can take that and wing it out that way. I chose to use this Fenty Fly eyeliner, but just because I prefer liquid in this case, and then I went over it with a little bit of a charcoal shadow. And she has this brought all the way in, all the way almost into the waterline, but not quite at the edge. And you can kind of like see the definition of like all the angles. And same thing, I'm repeating the same thing on the other side. And I just take my time and fill it in. There's no need to like rush it or even make it exactly like the picture. I find that if you just do your own rendition and you follow what fits your face, it will be just as good. So when I recreate looks, I don't always try to do an exact rendition, but kind of similar to what suits me. And yeah. And now I'm going to go in and make that second wing. So I kind of just eyeball that, correcting anything. Okay. And then the top, I'm going to bring that in a little bit. And I'm going to connect that. This eyeliner, the only complaint that I have of it is it ran out of ink very quickly. I don't know why. It kind of just dried up on me pretty quick. I don't know if it's from using it a lot, but I really don't use this eyeliner that much. I usually will typically reach for like a charcoal eyeshadow and fill it in, my waterline in with that. So I don't know why this is like running so low. So as you can see, I actually put a little bit of the ink and like smudge it on the back of my hand, then dipped the brush into it. You can do that too if you feel like your eyeliner pen is running a little bit low or is acting kind of weird. Sometimes powder gets on it and like dries out the tip. And so when some of the liquid tries coming out of the pen, it also like doesn't come out as well because it's like dried out. Okay, and so moving along. Sorry, I'm used to doing voiceovers now for like reels, and because I got out of full format, and so now I'm tired for talking for so long, but I'm starting to catch my breath. So I'm using the Makeup Revolution Monster Mattes palette, and I'm taking this like black shade, and I'm going over here this Fenty Fine Liner, and I'm just deepening that, making it bolder, because what Maddie's got going on is she's got a very bold look. She's here to tell you what's up, and her makeup is a statement within itself. And so I really wanted those double-barreled wings to really pop and be bold and make a statement. And so I want to make sure they're dark enough. And now I'm going back in to mold the shadow a little bit more. I'm just packing that burnt orange shade in a layer right on top of that lid again. And I'm packing that right into there just to make sure that that is instilled. And I'm going to reshape a little bit as well with the darker shades. Go in there, make sure that those are all worked out. And I'm going to make sure everything is also blended. And I'm blending those to make sure that they are morphed together and everything is cohesive. I would have liked to have seen this look in like broad daylight, but I had done this so late at night. So then I'm using the CoverGirl True Skin bronzer. This is in 310. I think it's like toasted butterscotch or something of that sorts. And I'm going to follow where I did some contouring earlier. And I'm just going to create a little bit of definition and bronzing to brighten up the face, put a little bit of color back in after we concealed, sharpen up some areas. I like this Baked Bronzer because it doesn't come out too dark when you apply it. It's got kind of a mix of a few different shades in there. And so it just creates like a very pretty shimmery bronzer. And then I'm going in with the Milani Fire Sign Plumping Lip Liner. And I'm going to go ahead and outline my lips. And I had etched off from overuse the, you know, logo and the number off of this. So I don't know what number it is, but I do remember the name because I did love this lip liner a lot. And I have this plumping lip liner in a couple shades. Although I don't really desire the plumping action because I'm happy with my natural lips as they are. It is nice though. It is a nice feature of this lip liner. I could see why some people would really like that. So this one's in Fire Sign. And then this is actually a burgundy eyeliner from L'Oreal. And I think I actually bought this at Publix. I was like at the pharmacy and I was waiting for my meds to get filled. And I was like, let me just look at this. Because I've been seeing one of my favorite makeup artists online use like burgundy and like pink and like blue eyeliner. So it's like, let me try something. So I did add my own unique feature to this look. And I did put some of that burgundy eyeliner underneath the black liner to add a pop. Maddy did not have that, but I decided to put a little bit of that. And I actually also used some of that burgundy lip liner, burgundy eyeliner as a lip liner at the center of the lip. Just when the lipstick fades off, there's something underneath. I don't really know if you're supposed to do that. I don't think you are, but I did. And then I put some concealer at the center of my lip to brighten it up just a little bit. I powdered so it does not move if I decide to eat or anything. I don't know if I did wear this out. I think I ended up actually probably just taking this off, but I always powder down my lipsticks. Now I'm doing something a little interesting, but I'm kind of just taking the powder puffer and a banana white sort of bake shade from that 9B Morphe palette, and I'm putting that right in between those eyeliners. I think that it probably would have been better use if I had taken a smaller angled brush, but that's okay. Blending out the powder on the lip, and then I'm going to go in with the Juvia's Place lipstick in Chic. And this is a perfect center of the lip action for this look. Just a nice, like, light, nudie pink shade in the center with that lip liner going around. And then I took the Beauty Blender just to, like, kind of blend in those shades together so that there's not too much of, like, a stark deviation. Then I'm taking the Duo lash glue, and then I popped on just one individual on each side, and I'm going to adjust that other individual. It's kind of like hanging off there. Hopefully I'm realizing that. I just licked a Beauty Blender, so I'm sure that's really healthy for me. Probably some extra nutrients that I was missing. And then I don't recommend that. I don't want somebody to, like, come after me for that. So I don't recommend that. Disclaimer, that is not health precautious. And then I'm taking the Benefit mascara in the little mini sample size that I got from Ulta. And then I clumped my lashes together, the bottom lashes together in threes. So I took like a couple lashes, clumped those together, took a couple more, clumped those together, took a couple more, clumped those together. And I make sure that I pump the wand a couple times so that I get the really, like, a lot of like liquid product at once to be able to do that and achieve that. Because Maddy in this look had a very retro vibe. And I feel like for a retro vibe, you need like clumped lashes, long lashes, a strong wing. And that's what she's got going on. It's a statement look. And so I want to continue the statement with having those sort of clumped lashes. I know some people or some artists will also use like individuals on the bottom. I'm not a huge fan of false lashes. I kind of prefer to use mascara. I'm sure I probably could have done that, but I'm taking a little bit of like that banana white sort of powder and I'm putting that on the waterline. And I'm packing that on there just to kind of add like a brightness underneath, because I did notice she had almost like this, if you looked very closely, some type of like brightening white eyeliner like on the bottom of the waterline there. And then she also had that between, you know, obviously those two wings that I had showed you earlier. And so I'm just continuing to kind of just like pack that in there. And that adds a little bit of brightness to the look, to the eyes. And then I did take that slimmer eyeliner brush and put in that like banana baked sort of powder in between. I actually like that better than using a white. I feel like that shows up on my skin better because I'm very fair, so I feel like if I put like just like a white shadow, it's gonna kind of just put like a cast rather than definition. And now I'm using again the Milani Fire Sign lip liner, and I'm redefining a little bit of the definition I might have lost within powdering or with using the other lipstick, because it's very clear in this look that she's going for a statement all around, and you can clearly see her lip liner. She wants you to know that she's bold. So I want to keep that statement theme going. Now I'm just going to repowder a little bit to just touch up kind of like any fallout, you know, powder the lip down a little bit. And this lip liner does sometimes smudge off pretty easily. That's kind of one of my complaints about it, but I just go ahead and just like reapply that again. And I take the bottom of this eyeliner pen and I just blend that out. Okay, and then I'm creating a fake mole because I noticed that she had like a fox mole underneath her lip, and then I'm going in on the side and accentuating a mole that I already have that kind of got covered up by makeup and stuff. I really do love this eye makeup look. I'm laughing because I'm watching Shira 7. I'm always like watching and listening to her in the background of like everything. And I think I was going to attempt to do something new with my hair, and then I had just decided that it was too dirty to do anything with it. And I was really tired because I've been very sick the past, I don't know, week or two. Then I'm taking this ColourPop New to You blush in the shade New to You, and it's a very like nudie pink. She didn't have a whole lot of like, you know, bold or pinky blush, but she did have a little bit. It was more of a bronzy blush. Then I'm adding a little bit of highlighter to keep some glow because I know we didn't mattify. And I'm taking this Saltier body oil. This stuff is very oily. Like, it made me feel very sticky. I did like it though. It added a very beautiful moisturizing glow, and it was the perfect match for this look because it just gave me like a nice bronzy glow, in which she had. So this is the look. Thank you for watching.